For more right now on what regulators may be looking at when it comes to trades in GameStops, we want to bring in Ferdose al-Taie, who served as senior counsel in the enforcement division of the SEC. And Ferdose, thank you for being with us today. There were a lot of questions about what he might say on Friday and whether or not that would land him in hot water. From what I saw, didn't seem to be anything that would necessarily be a big red flag for regulators. But what did you think?
Agree. I mean, he's a smart guy. He holds many FINRA regulations. He knows exactly what he's doing. I saw the whole thing as a stream of consciousness. He's not telling people what to do. He's only discussing his personal opinion. That doesn't give regulators a lot of wiggle room with what they want to do.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to label him a market manipulator. He answered questions saying it was just him. He didn't have other people who were in it with him. That would have been something they would have watched very closely. And he certainly seemed to lay out and show what he was holding. I mean, it showed that he would have lost quite a lot of ground just as the stock went down, too.
If anything, what he's doing right now is setting up a perfect defense for market manipulation. He's giving regulators everything that he would use in his defense if they brought up a market manipulation. I think ultimately what they're trying to do is ban him. That's a very high bar for them to reach.
Ban him from ever being able to trade again?
I think so. I mean, that would be the only outcome, right? If he was charged with market manipulation, they would be seeking a lifetime ban. They would try to get him out of the market completely. You see what E-Trade is doing. They're unhappy. However, they're getting the best press they've ever gotten. Their information is on every single thing he posts. So they should be happy right now, in a good position as well.
I didn't think about that this is free advertising, whether they like it or not. What do you just think about the retail movement in general? It's something that we saw the huge rise up during the pandemic. There's still a lot of active retail trading. And look, on Wall Street, people have always said they want people to be involved in trading. What do you think of this brand of retail trading?
I think it's fantastic. For the first time, individual investors are out there. They're out in front. They're learning from people. Now, look, meme stocks, there could be an SEC rule on meme stocks. Maybe they just don't like that. But retail investors are finally getting into the market. They're starting to understand what's going on. They're trading their own money. And that's great for the market. And if Wall Street wants to try to beat retail, they're doing that right now. This is a game. Wall Street is a game. And now regular investors are having fun, too.
Having fun, and I guess part of it is just getting people actively involved. What's the right way to go about this? Because you don't want to see retail investors who are left holding the bag if there's a big movement that is not based on fundamentals and things that we get tossed around. But look, people have thought that Wall Street was rigged for years and years anyway, and that the retail investor could never win.
That's true. I mean, but here right now with these types of meme stocks, Keith Gill particularly, everything is public, right? Perfect information makes perfect trades. That is the baseline of economics. The more retail investors have actual information, the better decisions they can make. Right now, we're seeing retail investors act very differently from how they did back in 2021. We're also seeing the street act very differently. They're reacting to Keith Gill. They're reacting to the positions he's showing that he's holding and affirming that he's holding. This is what the market is supposed to do.
How much of it, though, is different than what day traders were back in the late 90s, early 2000s? I mean, it's one thing to be an investor. It's another thing to be a trader. And it's a lot harder to be a trader, whether you're a pro or whether you're a retail investor.
Right. There's always winners and losers. Day trading is one of the highest risk positions that you can take. That doesn't mean that retail investors should be banned from doing it. Day traders have been banned, right? Because they know how to manipulate the market. They know how to affect a short squeeze. I think if what they're trying to do, if regulators are looking at what Keith Gill and other meme stock creators are doing, is what they're trying to do is find a rule that doesn't exist right now to control the market. We don't want retail investors left holding the bag, but they have perfect information about what could or could not happen with this particular stock.